The ITU Telecom World Conference is underway in Durban. For more on this, we cross to our reporter Mbali Mthethwa, who's standing by. Mbali, obviously it's the second day of the ITU conference. What's the latest?
Yes, Nombu. Today is the second day of the conference. It started yesterday with President Cyril Ramaphosa, speaking to us about how his government is in the process of issuing new spectrum licenses. Now, this is good news for the sector because spectrum is something that has been in short supply. And what this means is that you have a faster internet connectivity. What we also had yesterday, we had Minister of Telecommunications, Siyabonga Cwele, speaking to us, speaking at one of the media briefings here at the event, and we also spoke to him. And they also talked about how they were, government was in the process of doing trials on 5G. And 5G is also one of those things that makes it, that gives users, you and me, faster internet connectivity. This means that you can download an entire movie in a matter of seconds. But right now I'm joined by ICASA chairperson, Ruben Mthethwa, who is going to be speaking to us about issuing licenses. Thank you so much, Mr. Ruben, for speaking to us.
Thanks, Mbali.
Thank you. Tell us more what this means about, this new spectrum being issued out, licensing and everything. What does this mean for service providers and consumers?
What it means for service providers is that the spectrum constraints that has been there for some time, because over the past 3-4 years, there's been a growth in the uptake of data services. And as a result, we have experienced spectrum constraints which would have resulted in slow pace of download and upload speeds. And also the densifying of the network, that is, they were spending a lot of money using the existing spectrum to actually provide the data services to the consumers. So what it means is that now it will be less costly for them to roll out the network, and at the same time the consumers will experience faster speeds, and of course with the cost that would be going down in terms of the cost of data.
I think this is good news to hear that the cost of connectivity is going to be going down. I think you've seen the hashtag data must fall coming out in social media spaces quite a lot.
Yeah.
But what does this mean? Do we mean that, with regards to bringing down the cost, are we going to see new entrants coming into the market? More competition, which will obviously mean, even less because there's more competition in the sector. Please tell us more about that.
So what's going to happen is that we'll have two licensing framework. So we'll auction spectrum to existing licensees and so on, but we'll also license what we call the wireless open access network, and that's where mostly new players, black people, youth, women, small medium enterprises will also play in to provide broadband services. So we'll have those two categories of licensees, and of course, as you say, the result is that there's going to be competition and consumers will be spoiled for choice, and also the cost of data going down.
Okay. So you've spoken about some of the criteria that you're going to be using with regards to issuing this licenses and also getting new entrants in the sector. Please tell us, what is the time frame that you have to allocate the spectrum?
Well, at the moment, we're in a conversation with the ministry around the possible spectrum policy directive that will apply for both individual licensing through auction and also the licensing of the wireless open access spectrum. And once that is done, the regulatory process will start. We'll issue an information memorandum for the wireless open access network, and then issue invitations for people to apply. At the same time, we'll have sort out issues that we had in 2016 with regards to the litigation, and then be able to proceed with the auctioning of the rest. So we anticipate that by next year, this time around, we should have made sufficient progress towards the licensing of the three spectrum bands that the President has announced yesterday.
So the announcement was made just yesterday. What is the readiness of ICASA with regards to doing all of this?
Well, we've been ready for some time. The regulatory framework does exist. And of course, as you know, 2 years back, we issued an ITA for the auction. All what is needed is to retweak it to align it with the current policy considerations, and at the same time issue an ITA for the wireless open access network. And those processes should be able to move in tandem. So, as I say, the regulatory framework is ready. we should be able to have resources to proceed with the licensing framework. So by this time next year, I think on both sides we should be far ahead in terms of licensing those two bands. The pressure is quite enormous, and the benefits are countless, so it's important that we move with speed towards licensing of that spectrum.
Okay, thank you so much for speaking.
Thanks a lot.
Problem. There you have it. That was Ruben Mthethwa from ICASA, who's the chairperson of ICASA. Just before I hand over back to you, Nompu, yesterday, what I spoke to with Mr. Ruben about reminds me of what Siyabonga Cwele, Minister of Telecommunications, said in regards to reducing the cost of laying down fiber. He said that they were working together with local government as well as the private sector in order to lay down infrastructure and fiber across the country in order to reduce the cost of actually setting it up altogether. So I think maybe as South Africans we can look forward to paying less for our connectivity, and maybe data has really fallen. We don't know. We can only wait to see if it has really fallen. But it's back to you in studio for now.
Thanks very much, Mbali. We do hope for that.